5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome. I'm just guessing. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I'm really excited to have my good friend Andrea Martin with me. I'm going to play the intro. We're going to get started. It's going to be an amazing show. We're going to get into some Galactic up. Yeah, me muted. Okay. And then I always say this, guys, like I always put this picture, this subscribe button up for a purpose, because like I want you guys to subscribe, to also subscribe to Andrea's channel, subscribe to my channel. Andrea's channel is Growing Up Alien, a Pleiadian Walk-In on YouTube. And I'm Typical Skeptic Podcast on here and on Rumble, and hit the notification bell so you know when I go live and all that jazz, and like the video too. But my guest today is the amazing Andrea Martin. She's the creator of the YouTube channel Growing Up Alien, a Pleiadian Walk-In Story. I'm going to read the description from her YouTube. It says, "This is the story of a Pleiadian walk-in. Andrea uses her story of alienation as a template for others to come forward with their own contact journey. As a toddler, she knew she was not an earthling, and this is her story. She remembers the information from other beings placed in her mind, and one consistent firm message that was she was able to meet a blonde man. Her story is not special. She says there are many contactees ready to come forward." And that's kind of what she does to, with her channel. She wants to bring forward all the galactic information, and she wants to bring forward contactees to, so we have like real disclosure, and she's not afraid to go to like some of the dark places that we go to here. So, with all that said, I'd like to give her a big warm welcome back to the show. Andrea, thanks so much for coming back on. How are you?
Grant, it's so great to be back on with you, Rob. Always a lot of fun. I think the energy really is just so awesome with your channels at this point.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm building it back up. So it's great. So what's going on? Before the show, we talked about targeting. We're going to go to Rumble like in a little bit, guys. So we will transfer to Rumble, but so you've been being targeted pretty bad, or what's going on?
Not super bad, but this was probably one of the first times I remember being like tossed around. Waking up like I felt like I just plowed a whole field by myself. So then again, it was like just days after other friends were saying, I just got beat up too. So they've been kind of switching over to some different tactics. Less of the, I did have some depression after, but not as bad. So I think they've been kind of switching things up. And I know, Rob, you have been mentioning that you've also been noticing that.
Yeah, I have. And weird stuff. Like, it's just like, it's like stuff that makes you question your sanity. You know what I mean? And you ask yourself, is this targeting or is this something else? I guess they get you thinking like that, to where you think like, was this targeting or is this just like a circumstance? And then we're dealing with the full moon right now and the eclipse, which is like, that brings on a certain energy, I feel,
Oh yeah, but they can use different kinds of frequencies to infect your mind. For sure. I mean, now I know pretty much everything is them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, I don't know if we should probably wait. We'll save what they can do when we get to Rumble.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Can we talk like some galactic stuff? Like, do you have any updates since the last time we talked? Like, I know you and Erica, you guys go up. Well, wait, I was going to say, maybe for the audience that hasn't seen one of our shows yet, you could talk about like what you do and what Erica does and like the stuff you're trying to do for envoys, which are, starseeds and humanity.
Yeah. So I'm a childhood contactee. Obviously, I walked in this body when the body was about 2 or 3 years old. And I've been in contact with galactics, mostly Pleiadian, ever since then. I'm married. What people on Earth would call married. I'm actually married to a Pleiadian man. He lives in California right now. He's on a military base. He's actually with me tonight. So if anybody has any questions for him, you can ask him whatever you want. So he's here tonight on the show, which is nice. And because we're both I quit the GFW, and he retired from the military and the GFW both. So we're now pretty much wide open for bringing information without having any repercussions or need to be diplomatic, because there's really nothing that can go on to either of us at this point. But it was about, they wanted me to do this 2 years ago, but I refused. And so actually this time, literally September 7th, around that time last year, I started the channel. They basically got me laid off and kind of set me up where I couldn't say no. So we started the channel, and I had been on my friend Linda's show. We were archiving the work of Frank Chile. So the goal behind my channel was to be sort of the guinea pig for other people to come forward, regular people on the street. So we're very anti-celebrity. That was something that was really rubbing all of us the wrong way. And we just felt that it wasn't like the old school style where all the contactees were kind of playing with each other, playing nice. And really the goal was the mission rather than celebrity and, making yourself up like some kind of superhero. So that was, again, my goal, to open up a stage for, because I always say and I think all that crap's going to crumble once all of the real street regular people, contactees come forward.
Yeah, I agree. And you said you're archiving the work of Frank Chile. I'm not that familiar with him. Tell us about Frank Chile and what he was able to do for disclosure and stuff. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I just tell folks all the time. I said, just turn off the freaking modern stuff and go back in time. Go look at the Adamski. Look at the mass contacts with Stefano Brescia. Look at people like Howard Menger, right? And there's more, Billy Meyer, you name it. So they have verified photographs. This is the old film, like this is old school, old film. So you can know right away that if the photograph's verified, and most of these have been verified by professionals, that's a legit photograph. So go back in time. And now Frank Chile, Frank himself is a walk-in. He believes he's a walk-in. I suspect that's true. He's Venusian, and he has been, working with guys like Rob Potter, Major Filer, Commander Bethune. Who else has he done? Albert Coe, one of the first contactees to really come forward in the 1920s. He's worked with him.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? Do you know Raymond Keller too? He knew Rob Potter. He's from around this area, actually. Raymond Keller comes to my Pittsburgh UFO group sometimes. Him and Fred Saluga. They're like old school guys,
That's Frank's crowd. Yeah. So we just wanted to get those stories on tape, so it's just been the work. I mean, his presentations are just fantastic. He's got an amazing personality. He's just amazing. So we need to get, his stories out there, which we've been doing. And it's unfortunate we lost Rob Potter. Right. So yeah, I just,
what I was gonna say, Andrea, like what I like about you, what I've noticed about like this with you and like also James Bartley, like you guys, like I love it because like I try to do this as well. Like I mix in the old school stuff, like the old school contact cases, but you also talk about new stuff. Like you'll talk about Galactic Envoy and Galactic Courts, and you'll also talk about MyLabs and SSP, and like, so it's like you're not afraid to touch on all of it, and it's good because you link the history, the history, plus what's going on currently, and I think that's valid. And I've only seen that in James Bartley. James Bartley does that too, and I really admire that because I think that's what I'm trying to go for as well. Because I'm an old school UFO guy, I like hearing about all those contact cases and stuff like that, and I feel like we need to know our history to get real disclosure,
Yeah, I mean, this is the information I got was that, there was a progression. The original largely Venusian contactees during the old school days, they didn't have MyLabs and MK Ultras. That came in later. And that's actually one of the reasons why people will say this. How come we don't have contact like we used to? Well, they had to stop that because people were getting killed. Not only were people's lives being destroyed, pretty much every single person back in the day had their, pretty much, they went through the ringer for sure. But it got more dangerous and more dangerous as the bad guys began to have more advanced technology, right? They were able to shoot down craft and also begin to start, tracking people. This is when you start to see the MyLabs, the MK Ultra, that era that came out. You're looking at an increase in abductions, which you really didn't see before from the 70s onwards. You're really starting to see that. You can also trace the advancement of the black operation craft, right? We have many reports, in the newspaper from cops back in like the 60s and 70s of people that have had these weird UFO type things, give them radiation burns, yada, yada. And those aren't ET, those are all military. So you could kind of trace the development there of the bad guys, the black operations, with their technology and with their new ways of working with contactees, shutting them up, abductions, aggression, using violence and drugs, and you name it, in these different underground facilities. I think we can share some of that again on Rumble. But yeah, it got real rough and real dark. We also have information from the visitors that have bases here. So my husband is actually at an extraterrestrial base in California now, in Pacific Palisades. But there are several extraterrestrial bases in California. There's one base here that was taken over by the Galactic Federation. It's out by the Berkshires. So it's about 10 miles long. Is a base here in Massachusetts. There's another base by the Corendai people that's also in California that goes under the ocean.
Wow.
So yeah, that base was militarized. So TerraCore is a great website for folks to look into. This is actually intel from a contactee with the Corendai people. He ended up marrying one of them and moving on to their planet, Corendor. So there's photographs available of the planet Corendor, which a lot of folks are trying to track down right now. So we'll see where those end up. But you can start to piece together using, detective work, what actually was happening during these times. You also had bases in Italy that were destroyed. So things started heating up and getting very dangerous. And again, ships were being shot down by the black operatives. So it got kind of rock and roll. And that's why everything shifted from, make a long story short, everything shifted from direct contact with these guys landing and chit chat, whatever, to the astral, to the telepathy.
So more like astral abductions and astral contact. Is that what, with all beings?
Yeah, the contact shifted to telepathic contact. It had to, because it was getting far too dangerous here on this planet. So,
wow, that's amazing. We had a question from the audience. This is from Shannon. She says, "Does Chili know John Mack or Bud Hopkins? Does he like their work?"
Oh, Shannon, text me later. I'll ask him for you.
Yeah, that's they had important work. I think John Mack was murdered. I feel like John Mack was murdered. I feel like Carla Turner was murdered for sure. I mean, they said John Mack stepped in front of a car, but like, who doesn't look across the street when you're crossing the street in another country? You know what I mean? That's the way I think about it.
It's all. Yeah. This is what we've just been talking about. They will kill you.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should go over to Rumble now, and we can get into more stuff. So I'm going to remove this from YouTube, guys. If some of the moderators could share the link to Rumble in the chat, that'd be great. And we're just gonna remove the stream from YouTube now. And we're gonna go over to Rumble so we can talk about more